Tym Moss. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Wendy Stuart?
I am excellent, except my computer is dinging. My God, I can't take technology. Anyway, welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart.
And I'm Tym Moss.
All day long. How's your AC, Tim?
It's kicking right now.
Thank God.
It's really hot here in New York.
It's like really crazy hot, and it's like my hair is completely out of control today. It like doesn't matter how much I talk to it or what I tell it or how much I spray it, it's doing its own thing. When hair takes on its own life, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Well, I feel like I'm seeing you so much lately.
That's we have seen each other a few times.
Right, because I went to your reading of Salvation.
Yes, we had a reading of Salvation, Kit Anthony's or Kit Blessing's play, which is just such an impactful piece. It's very just so intense. Yeah.
You had a full house at Urban Stages, which was really great.
Yes.
And exciting.
I love that play. I love that play, and I want it produced, and I want to get it up and running. So
let's put that out into the universe. You know, your words are just going out there right now. So let's put that out into the universe. And then we got to see each other at the amazing celebration of life for our friend Nick Lyon.
Yeah.
I think he would approve that we did a really great job.
It was so Nick Lyon. That celebration. He had a ball. He had a ball.
And the performers, it ended up being 11 performers.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you can go onto my Facebook page and see a lot of the amazing photographs that were taken. And it was just the speeches that people made, these songs that were specially chosen in Nick's memory. And there we were at the Copa, which Nick would have loved. Everyone wore bling.
Yep.
Nick Lyon was all about having bling. So
and everybody was blinged out in Nick's honor.
Yeah. And Casey Mulcair, I want to give him a shout out. A wonderful friend, incredible photographer, been doing this scene since like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And he's been now photographing a lot of our group because we all work together a lot. And the pictures are amazing. So I want to thank Casey for capturing the best in everybody.
I agree. And Jed Ryan too. And Billy was there. Billy Hess was there as well. So
yes, Billy Hess. I haven't seen Billy's pictures yet, and I can't wait.
No, I haven't either.
Amazing. Jed Ryan's pictures we get to see because we work with Jed Ryan a lot. And again, amazing photographer. And I'm going to see you and Jed Ryan and Clover Honey and Icavelli tonight on TriVersity Talk because we're going to be telling you all about the upcoming Jersey City Pride Festival where we are doing the Fabulous Film Short Fest. It's going to be this Saturday at what is the name of the venue, Tim? Is it Arts? I
don't remember. Give me a second here.
It's Arts something or other. It's on Marin Boulevard, Marin Louise Boulevard. Yes, I got the address.
But it's Art House Productions.
Art House Productions. So that's this Saturday. And I believe it starts at 6 or 7, Tim. Do you have that?
I think 6:30. I have 6:30 down.
There you go. I was close, but no cigar. 6:30 start. And I want to give a shout out. I recommended a couple of the filmmakers. And then, of course, we all got submissions from other filmmakers. It pays to be in the arts and know all of these talented people. We have films with Damon Byrne and Stephen Love Menendez. And I always feel film is one of the most incredible ways to communicate with people.
I agree.
Or to get them there. So speaking of communication, I broadcast from Pangea and I was here and I always talk to Stephen Shanigan, the owner, and I'm like, hey, you got anybody really interesting coming up? And he said to me, as a matter of fact, I do. Our performer today is a visual arts performer, a cartoonist, a storyteller. You want to talk about creative energy, a Guggenheim Fellow in Creative Arts, and has this amazing, unique talent, which I had to break down for myself. They can translate a complex thought concept into drawings as if they're words, right? So it's actual images that replace our words. Not only that, they can do it lightning fast. Well, the lightning fast completely brings me to my introduction. Lightning fast in a flash. Welcome our guest today, Flash Rosenberg.
Flash, yay!
Come on down to the hot seat.
How are you?
And there we are.
Good.
Oh, look, you're coordinated with the snake that's behind you. Somebody pointed that out last week. How can I be here all this time and not have known I have a snake behind me? So you just did a one-person show at Pangea.
Yeah.
July 31st.
Yeah, it was called Losing Time, Finding Now. And the inspiration for it was, the immediate one was my mother, who she got dementia. But I hate the word dementia. We got rid of the word retarded. I think we can get rid of the word dementia too.
I love you already.
I think that what had happened to her, she lost one of the laws of physics. She lost the sense of time. So that's what losing now is. And then, losing time, and then finding now. So I want to call, excuse me, what happened to her is being in a new dimension. Spell dementia with an N.
I like
that's so, talk about a wordplay. And yeah, you're right. It's also a new now. When I'm trying to explain this to a friend of mine whose partner, her wife, is definitely got dementia. I see that she, sometimes people lose patience. Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? They're in a whole other, went through it with my mother. So I just went into that world with my mother. Right. What was your experience?
Well, this experience was that she was still who she was. I still saw her humanity.
Yeah, the glimmers.
And that instead of, it's not easy. I'm not trying to put an optimistic Pollyanna spin on how much work it is, but I realized the more games I played for her to be in the moment, which was very related to what I've done my whole career.
I was going to say,
teaching visual humor, being a photographer, being a noticer of what's funny in order to tell it to others and make them laugh and spend their awareness noticing instead of complaining. And one of the things that was good to do with my mother was to be in the now. Like most people say, remember what we did yesterday, and when we did that, and tomorrow we're doing that. That would give her,
freak her out. She can't remember any of it. It's too many complex thoughts.
She'd have a lot of anxiety, and then other things would go wrong. Whereas if in the moment, not saying, oh, there's a glass and it's on the table, the banality of now, but what about the creativity of now? Like we would hear a bird chirp, say, what color is that bird? And therefore she had agency and creativity. We would do, kids' jokes. I would have a playing card of, corny jokes, and she could, laugh at the answer because she got the joke. Like she wasn't, instead of making the person feel stupid, I realized it's those of us who are cognitively present with more dimensions to join what it's like to lose a dimension. And it wasn't really lost. It taught me more about surrealism than I ever knew that I knew about. And that just to figure out what to do, and to keep changing it. Her attention span was,
from minute to minute, and they'll not remember what you had said 5 minutes
ago. Well, sometimes, she would repeat. Everybody gets annoyed by that. They start repeating. And then I thought, that's not, she would ask, where is everybody? Where is everybody? She's in the family home where she raised her kids. Wow. Where is everybody? And then I would answer honestly, and then she'd ask a minute later, where is everybody? And I realized that for her, it was a kind of music. The vibration of her own voice, asking something again and again, didn't require an answer. What it required was me to understand it as a song that was comforting her. The same way the Beatles went, she loved you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah. Well, you just said that. Why are you saying that again? So all of music is, and music soothed her, and I sort of was able to make that connection. And we had another game we played called Happy Hour. Now, the last thing anybody who's losing their mind needs is a happy hour. It's a happy hour, but it was about, should we decide that this hour is happy? Yes. And then we pour lemonade in wine glasses and sit on the screened-in porch in the back. And because she still lived in the hometown where I was raised,
Sure.
I would invite a friend or two that I hadn't seen in a while. And we'd sit there and say, how long can we keep a conversation going? And it's on us before anyone might notice something was wrong. And then she felt involved and engaged in this. And, like, because to just banish that, it's sort of yes and. It's the best
It
of
is
improv.
like the best of improv. Yes and, that yes and game. But I am so completely impressed, because I can tell you there's nothing out there that is this structure that you're talking about. Even in my mother ended up in assisted living for people with dementia. There's nothing like this. Well, I was able to hire someone to read to her a couple of times a week and have conversations. But what you're talking about is an actual program.
Well,
program.
I'm thinking of it as like a deck of cards that people could pick a card and play that game. And by calling it a game instead of therapy, or calling it a job, or you have to, and if that one wasn't working, we do another one. Like, I wanted her to get up and keep moving. So this crazy jib jab where you put your faces in and you play these silly songs and it dances around. She would see the faces of her family, and she would dance in the kitchen to be happy or this. And I kept thinking, what else? And that then, instead of my thinking, what else is wrong? What else can we do so that my day's not ruined? It was selfish as well as insightful.
Right. But it was also
because the thing that I love about this and your thinking and your approach on this is she is still the exact same person.
Thank you. Right.
Has always been. She's just not in the same realm. She's not in the same construct.
The same time zone. Like what I tried to picture what it might be like for her. Like in that way, it was up to me to imagine her, not her to imagine why she's not me. And I feel like, imagine she walks forward and the earth behind her dissolves and she can't take a step back.
Yeah. And she has no footing now. She can't go back, but forward, there's no footing on.
And one of the things she used to say a lot was, a lot of us say, oh my God, if that ever happened to me, I wouldn't want to live. My mother wanted to live.
I love that. And you were going to make sure she was going to have the best of what she possibly could.
And she wanted to live because she said, I like the feeling of air on my cheeks.
Nice.
The faces of my children. She says, I have to wake up. Otherwise, I won't know what's going to happen tomorrow. She sometimes had real lucid moments about how unlucid she was. And because it undulates. It's not even like a straight stream of losing it or, whatever. But one time we never discussed what was, troubling her. I hate to say the word wrong because she didn't need to be correct.
But if it was troubling, you skipped the
one time my brother, sister, and I were discussing her in the kitchen thinking she was asleep.
Oh.
And then she woke up and said, what's the matter with me? Do I have Humpty Dumpty? And I said, Mom, I think that's what it is. All the king's horses.
It's an
all the king's can't put Marilyn back together again. She goes, it would be a good nursery rhyme, wouldn't it? And
I love this. Right. Do I have Humpty Dumpty? Wow.
Well, see, that is her form of living. She's living. You were helping her live.
She helping me learn about now.
Yeah.
Like people go, live in the moment as if it's some yoga thing. This was really living
her
in the
now
moment.
Was
as a sense of like that book Einstein's Dreams,
Or incredible.
I just like the idea that it's not dementia, it's dimensional.
New dimension.
It's a new dimension. We're not calling it. I'm going to tell people when I talk to them, I'm going to tell my girlfriend, I had someone on the show that shared this with me, and we're calling it new dimension, not
life in a new dimension. And that's
But I think the reason you could come upon this is because you have a lot of dimensions to you.
Right.
Just that's who you were born as.
I think as an observer, like a lot of people want to know if you're an artist, like, are you a photographer? Are you a painter? Are you a draw? Do you do
label?
The categories, right?
And I said, I notice things and then use whatever supply best evokes that most rapidly. So that's, so I'm not a camera or a pencil. I'm an observer. That's why I say I'm an attention span for hire, because I said, I'll pay attention to what I'm noticing, or if you want to pay me, I'll pay attention to what you're doing. That's how I've been able to.
Which corporate
have you always been observational, like from childhood?
Oh, I think so, because I recently did a piece here at Pangea called Notes to Future Self. My theory is this is how you improve the world. Like, you don't have to march around and carry signs. I'm glad people do it, but that's not what I do. What I decided when I was age 4 that if you made a note every time a grown-up did something really stupid, and then when you grew up, don't do that.
That's such a simple concept.
Yeah. You must have had quite a catalog going there.
I did. I did it as a presentation for a commencement speech at my high school. That, like when I was 4, my dad had to sit there until I drank all my milk, and I didn't want to drink milk. And he finally would get he thought you could tell a kid what to do and they'd do it. Surprise!
Right, surprise, right.
And so he finally would get so frustrated, he poured it on my head. Well, it tickled. I laughed. My mother started crying. She had to wash my hair. And I said, never make people eat or drink something they don't want. And that's when Notes to Future Self began.
Wow.
As a little kid, and you carried it with you.
That's some advanced and evolved awareness that you had.
Yeah, you had such an awareness of concept at a very. How did your parents deal with you?
Well, I think it was a little bit arrogance too, because I thought I knew things and I didn't ask them to explain it. So
did you know things, Flash?
I did. Well, when I was born in New York, but we moved to Delaware, where I was raised. In fact, if you know another person from Delaware, you have to give that one back because there's not enough of us to go around. So, but in the car, I cried the whole way. And they thought maybe I was car sick or this or that. And when we got, Mom said, "What is wrong? What is wrong?" I said, "Well, I thought if you moved away from where you were born, you would never have another birthday again, and I'd be 4 forever."
Wow.
Even that's a concept. My God, you could do so on that. Well, what happened?
Well, it turns out she was right. I was right. I've been about 4 years old all my life.
They all say we get stuck in an age. Yours is 4.
I just like looking around. What is it?
I love that. The wonder, the curiosity. I love that.
Right. And so instead of thinking, like, one of the things I like about being an event photographer is it's a day off from having opinions. I'm just looking at what the humans are doing.
Right.
It's like being an anthropologist. In a way, you think, like, I don't have to like it or not like it. And almost everyone we know goes, I like that, I don't like that. That's good, that's bad.
Yeah.
And I think, what if it's just what it is? And let's think of it another way and another way, so that you're viewing things from a lot of points of view, the way you would stand on a chair to look at a subject to take a picture of it, or squat down to take a look at it, or, so that you've got a lot of perspectives. And I'm not so hinged on this is correct. And that's where,
which really will give you a lot of ways to look at it and capture the visual.
Yeah.
And then there's also a lot, because the way I had grown up, a lot of the things that I supposedly liked or didn't like wasn't even what I liked or didn't like. It's what everybody told me I had to like or didn't.
Right.
Well, this is what happened when I went to college. I got a scholarship to the University of Delaware. Now I'm in Delaware, and all I want to do is get out of Delaware.
But you got a scholarship, Flash,
Like, I'm in my bedroom crying. My parents are opening up the Asti Spumante. And so I read that this is a long time ago. It was a long time ago. And back in the day when they had course catalogs, before everything was online.
We were in school at the same time. I read your bio. So we had a course catalog.
Yeah. And the state of Delaware said they had a moral obligation to educate their citizens. And if you wanted to major in something they didn't offer, they'd pay the difference for you to go somewhere else. But, well, how hard could it be to major in something they don't offer? I mean, it was the 70s. We could invent anything.
You could invent your own major.
Yeah. So I did. I went to the Dean of Arts and Science and said, I want to major. I don't want to be an or an ist. I don't want to be a photographer or a philosopher or a scientist or artist. I said, I have a question, and this is going to be a question that's going to take my whole life to answer. I'm never going to solve it, but I want to study things that help me understand better how to answer the question for myself. And the question is, how do we know the things we know when we haven't been told? And that's marketing, it's history, it's social studies, it's visual arts, it's at the time it was the beginning of video production. And so I was able to, the dean said, I thought, this is it, I'm going to MIT. And then she said, no, this is a good idea. You could stay right here.
You're right. You thought this is a shoe-in for MIT, and it should have been, by the way.
No,
yes.
It's a great thing that happened, because then she said, you'll stay right here and you'll be the first dean scholar. And so I got a Bachelor of Science in Graphic Design with a specialization in visual communications. And so I was even inventing what I said, because what I need to know isn't what anybody now teaching is able to teach me what I need to know, because the future is going to be different. And a few years later, I began teaching a course called Future Nostalgia, documenting the anticipated past. That this is how you teach somebody to be funny. You don't say tell jokes or just notice what's weird that everybody's doing, or just trying to do just wordplay. Yes, those things are funny and I enjoy them enormously. But if you think of yourself now and how hilarious we're going to seem to somebody in the future, you are living in what is an old photo that they're laughing at sooner, in the future. Like, like I imagine in the future, they'll see pictures of all of us walking around holding rectangles next to our heads. I'm thinking, what are they doing? That's going to look so ancient. Right. Why don't they just touch their tooth with their tongue and answer the phone?
So hit this part of their forehead and be able
with the chip.
I never, it's so, your concepts are, I don't want to say out there. They're not there. They're things that people don't think about. I know a number of scientists, and I've interviewed people that study black holes. Mm-hmm. You fall into that category. If you wanted to do a different direction, you could be one of the people that study. You get what black holes are, right?
Well, I come from a family of engineers. My father was a rocket scientist, so my mother would be the first to say, but he's no rocket scientist,
But he was actually a rocket scientist. Yeah, I'm I picked 5, so I'm getting all of that from you. It is so interesting that you have taken that and you've turned it into a successful career for yourself, doing what it is that you can do and how you see.
Well, looking at what is it that somebody needs and figuring out how to do that. I mean, and everybody, I've counseled so many people whose kid wants to go into art. They go, oh no, they're going to starve. This is terrible. What are we going to do? And I said, close your eyes and open them. Every single thing you see was touched or inspired or sold by or this by arts. The color of the wall, the dress you have on, the food that you think you need to eat. Yeah. All of that is sort of touched on by somebody with an artistic vision. And you don't have to decide to call it a job or the arts. My job is in the arts. I like using my art as communication. I was not that interested in the gallery scene and the museum scene because I had one job in life and it was at a museum and I enjoyed it. I'm not putting that museum down.
Of course.
But I thought I was misunderstood that if you were really talented and you had gallery shows, then you did museum shows and then you become a famous artist. Well, that's not how it works.
No,
it's not like even a little bit. Market. No, if you have a gallery, somebody buys your work. They want to increase the value of the work. They then fund a catalog for a museum show. Then you're a museum artist, and then you're
that is exactly how it works.
And I said, well, that doesn't seem like the way you can maximize being significant in a community. This just seems like I'd be a decorator. I don't. And my sense of interior design is take everything you own and put it where you live.
Right, right. So, on the walls.
Not even on the walls, just all over the place.
All your stuff.
And people come over and say, well, you better get rid of some of this stuff. I said, good, you can leave.
Yeah, right. That is, I'm a stuff person. It's my stuff. I love my stuff.
I am not like Marie Kondo. I'm the anti. If it's still good, I have it.
I still hear you loud and clear. My daughter had a boyfriend that came over one time and he said, does your mother have anything against even having a space on a wall? And my daughter said, what do you mean? He said, she's got every bit of wall space covered. And my daughter said to him, but she put beautiful things up there that all make sense to her. Yeah. It's what you're saying, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You want your stuff.
I mean, although there are times when you get challenged. Like my mom said, could you just write on an index card what it is you do?
Well, I have to be honest with you. Like I had spoken with Steve here and I'm like, oh my God, she sounds so interesting. And then I got your resume. Then I did the Google and I had to okay, Wendy, you need to put this into words so you can share it with your audience. And I got it. But there's a lot of things you do on top of taking words and making images out of it and using that for communication. Then there's your storytelling where you're using words, but in the words that you use, you've got concepts and they're complex concepts. They're not, they're not like run of the mill. There's a lot of food for thought with you. I looked at your videos and stuff and I'm like, whoa. Were you ever asked to take the test for Mensa?
No,
nobody asked you to do that?
no, and I didn't ask myself to do it because I think that, you know, like if you are, I mean, among the people who know me, I'm very well known. And that's enough. That's my,
I love
fame.
that.
Also,
right.
it's all the fame you need. I learned a lot about fame. I wanted to say about what I wrote on the index card, though, for my mom, because I said, you know, she said, what am I going to tell my friends? You know,
That you do, right?
and I said, write down, Flash is happy. I said, your friends then can have more time to talk about their kids, and you don't have to describe what I did.
They just want to talk about their kids. It's the only reason they're asking your mom about
what does
in the room? Yeah,
what does Flash do? She's just happy.
Yeah. Right.
I love
just
that.
happy doing what it is that she does.
And she's extremely busy. That was what she said.
Yes, I love that. Love that.
But I have to also say, just reading about you, you know, the photography, the fact you can deliver to corporate clients. There are a lot of people, and we know them, there are, in terms of their art, they can't bridge into other areas. You've actually been able to earn a living at what you do because you do it so well, and there's no one else doing what you do.
Well, I'm interested in how, when you hear information and you're learning it, how does it get into you? How does it land in you? Now, I think it's different for different people. Some people hear words, or maybe they see typewritten font, or maybe I always was seeing pictures. So that's how I had almost like a hieroglyph sense of drawing.
A hieroglyph
and
sense.
So when I started doing live drawing, it was like as somebody was talking, I could make a picture of the thought.
Wow.
So it would accelerate somebody else understanding it. So let's say I'm at a corporate meeting and I would draw the key concepts. I liked school. I liked taking notes. This was a way of making notes with the margin drawings.
But with images.
And not caricatures. I'm not interested in making fun of the faces who are talking.
No.
Whenever I'd say I draw, you know, somebody talking, they think I'm drawing that person.
Right.
Photography does that much better. You know, like, so it doesn't require me, although I'm in awe of somebody who can do a good caricature. I'm not, because then you're seeing how to shape the thing, but that's making fun with the person.
Right.
But I'm making fun with what we think, because it's not just, I used to say this all the time at the New York Public Library, it's not just stump the doodle monkey. If somebody's saying something and it's not making any sense, well, it's not visible. Like, so it wasn't just me not being able to get it. It's like, you're not saying it. And sometimes things sound fancy. And then when you go to try to interpret it, it's not there. So I was often used as, you know, to help in strategy meetings, people to come up with their thoughts so that they could present them more clearly to advertise them.
Oh my God, this is so needed in the corporate world. Yeah.
So what your ability is to take the essence of someone's thought or what they are saying or what they are talking about and put it on a visual or on a paper, an image of that, to create an image of that.
I'm making a cartoon of the concept.
Yeah, it is. It is an actual cartoon of the concept. And it's not just one thing. Her I don't know what you call them. Images have a lot of the concepts on there. They're actually brilliant to look at, and you have to sit and focus on them for a while.
Well, also, I mean, and it's beyond. I'm not putting down anybody who does this, because I honor anyone who tries to listen to words and make it visible. But there's a whole genre of work called graphic facilitation, and they'll often make notes of the whole lecture or talk or corporate presentation, and there was always like some stick figure with a light bulb coming out of it.
Now we've all seen those. That's great.
I mean, when I get an idea, I've never seen a light bulb pop into my head except once.
Once you had a light bulb.
Once I did, because I was at my desk, the light burnt out. I went in the back to get a bulb, forgot why I went back there, back to the front of the studio, and I had a light bulb in my head. That's it.
That was the only time it ever happened, right? Physically, the light bulb had to be there for you. Incredible. I would like to show, so I chose a video of your presentation. Was it here at Pangea, that presentation?
The condolence cheesecake?
I took the first video you sent me. I think it's condolence cheesecake. I'd like to show the video because Flash is just such an amazing wordsmith, speaker, worked with the Moth. You're very much in demand for the moth. You got to be good for the moth.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things is that one of the ways I taught myself to write, I didn't consider myself a writer. I don't know what anybody else thought, but you did art or you did writing back in those days.
Yeah.
But then by performing, I watched words land on people to understand how to become more succinct, how to respect their time. If they chose to waste an evening of their lives being with me, then I need to offer them what it is I know.
And paying for a ticket. They're paying for your time.
Right, and to actually be clear and say as much as you can so that there's a density of kind of connection.
Exchange and connection. So they leave with something. You're giving them a gift. You're going to leave with that.
They gave me the gift of their time. So the idea that I'm a writer still surprises me. But it's quicker than drawing. That's what I like.
Writing is quicker. Although you're a really quick drawer. All right, well, look at the video now.
Take a video of Flash Rosenberg.
Thank you.
Mom seemed to be in a Hanukkah of death. She could no longer swallow, no longer sip water. On July 1st, home hospice predicted she had 1 day, 1 hour, maybe 1 minute. But Miracle Maryland lasts 8 more days. She passed on July 9th. And in the cosmic unicorn of what the fuck that's death, none of us really knows what to do. At that very moment, I was being threatened and cruelly forced out of my home. Lease not being renewed for no reason. With no grace or mercy to be given more time, given the circumstances. What to do? Find a new home or go home? What if Mom was waiting for me to visit? Or else waiting to learn my new address? I have no idea where the hell she went. It's up to her to keep track of me now. I respected her wishes. I gave you life. Never stop yours to take care of mine. I stayed in New York, solved where to move. For the funeral, my friend Hank in LA thought to send a condolence cheesecake to Delaware from juniors in Brooklyn. Apparently, a condolence cheesecake is a thing. Well, with no one living in the old family house, Hank thought it practical to ship the cheesecake to my brother in the same town in Newark, Delaware. But he had Ken's old address from 15 years ago, so no cheesecake arrives. Well, not to Ken. It's tracked to the home of Ken's ex, whom he refers to as his why, as in why was I with her? They've not spoken since 2004. And somehow this is exactly the comfort we needed. Forget the cliche of the black-cloaked Grim Reaper with his scythe. We now have a new icon, the cheesecake of death. In creamy yellow, maybe marbled with chocolate, bearing the news that someone you no longer care about has died. I called the company. No, I can't go over to get it. Imagine me being arrested the day of my mother's funeral for stealing a package off a suburban stoop. Earlier, the company had asked for an updated address in case delivery could be intercepted. No luck. But what do you know? A week later, in time for the memorial, a condolence cheesecake arrives to console us on the loss of our cheesecake. We took this story as a sign to return, or more accurately, continue Mom's love of humor. While caring for her in May, I admitted being lazy about changing her pants. For me, she would agree to sit on the toilet for just a while, just in case she could go. I played Beatles on my iPhone while grabbing a moment at the kitchen table, just outside the tiny powder room, to answer a business email, all while trilling, I'm here, I'll be right there, all's good. I hit send, go check on Mom. She's gone. Where? Where? My sister's gonna kill me. Mom? Mom? She's not there. She's not in the other room, not there. But there, 2 rooms away, pants pulled up, lying on the couch, under a blanket, head on a pillow, smiling. Mom, how did you get here? Oh, I forgot how to walk. To still be who you are, even when you no longer know who you are, is a gift. Oh. Mom's death released her, and released us, from the physical fact of her as a fragile 90-year-old woman with cognitive issues. Our vision opened up, and all the Maryland she's ever been returned. I plan to return as well. Years of fermented sadness will stay unpacked in the new place. I've decided to decorate my new space with simple enthusiasm. I now have a big window. I can see the sky, the weather, the light, the night. Yesterday I could see it raining. Daytime I can be inside with no lights turned on. I appreciate being back on this stage. And I swear as I stand before you in a colorful dress that I will fully appreciate any day when Mom is not dying and I don't have to move.
Wow.
Just what a powerful piece. And we were talking before about comedy. You are a comedian and more. And I'm not going to say it right. You'll know what the word is, monologuist, where it's
monologuist. Yeah.
Thank you,
Monologuist,
monologuist in the same vein. You know who David Kale is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to see him on Sunday up in Ankram, and I've seen him here. But what you give is just got so many dimensions to it.
Well, I didn't think I was a funny person. I mean, young women of our vintage weren't considered funny. The boys were funny. And girls were just like awkward, you know. But then what happened is I read
weird.
I read an item in the Science Times, New York Times, that said that adult human beings laugh about 10 to 15 times a day, and I went, I am way over the limit. So for 2 weeks, anyone who enjoys it, I wrote down every time I laughed and what caused it.
And that's interesting.
And discovered it was this little notebook, and I discovered it was mostly me. And then I started cartooning them, and then I did, I did it as a performance piece. Now I didn't know anything about performing yet, so I had a whole bunch of these. I probably had a lot of moments related to the body. Like I said, why would anybody want to be a model? Like models have completely missed the point of life. I mean, people want to date them; they're popular, but what are models supposed to do? They're supposed to not eat and wear clothes.
Right.
Me, I'd rather eat and take my clothes off. Like, so a lot of things like that. And I did it as a show, but the night before, I thought I could memorize an hour's worth of material. Well, as anyone who just groaned knows, that's not possible. So I said, well, I'll make a few notes. And I took a Sharpie and started writing it all over me. And I wrote the whole show on any part of my body. I had my little underwear on. I had camouflage underwear, so I wouldn't have to be embarrassed because they couldn't see me. Like I had camouflage on. But it was where I could write and see. And I read the whole piece, and the audience was howling with laughter. I'd never been in an audience where I caused that much laughter.
And it was obvious you were looking for parts that you're reading. I think that I put it between my fingers because it's impossible to memorize. But I love that. You used your whole body. And it's the joke. It was part of it.
It was like, I said, well, I had a jumpsuit because it was a jumpsuit era back then. Let me just take off my jumpsuit so I can see my notes. And then everybody's laughing. And it turned out the program director at the public radio station in Philadelphia was in the audience that night. And he comes running up to me afterwards and says, oh my God, this was wonderful. You should be on radio. I said, anyone's ever seen you in your underwear on stage and tells you to do radio? Listen to him.
Yeah, right. That's so funny. And you ended up doing radio.
But these flash moments were they weren't jokes in that usual way. Like they'd be things like what does the speed of light have to do with daily life? I mean, Einstein got a lot of mileage out of it, but the speed of light has never affected me. I mean, how fast am I talking at the speed of talking? How is it possible to get a speeding ticket when a car can only go with the speed of car? This is more like physics according to Gertrude Stein, not Einstein. I want to know something far more difficult, so complicated, I don't think we're ever going to discover it. I want to know not the speed of light, but the length of matter. If someone breaks up with you or hurts you, how long will it matter?
But see, this is so conceptual because what you're doing is taking what people, not all those thoughts, so they might have one of them, and then there you are, and you link one thing into the next thing into the next thing. It's funny. That's what makes it funny.
Well, what was funny was that when I first was doing the early 90s, was when I moved fully back to New York. And I would try, people said, well, you should do this in comedy clubs. And the comics said, oh, you don't have the right timing. And this was when I realized that what I was doing was really women's humor, not jokes about hair, weight, and boyfriends, but in fact, the timing was female humor, because it was not the ejaculative ha. It's funny, it's funny, it's funny now. The way that the way jokey jokes are. It's kind of funny. This reminds me of a time it's funny. Now it's funny. Oh, now I want it to be funny again. It was biologically laughing like a woman.
It was biological and it was observational, but understand the straight man's way. I took Steve Rosenberg's comedy experience because people kept telling me I should do stand-up. I had no idea what I was doing in that class, and everything was set up and punchline. And I have a thing that I did at the comic strip. And when I look at that tape, I just want to cringe because it's so forced. And I'm a funny person. I get employed as a funny person. That person on that stage was not funny. People should not be teaching this. They shouldn't be teaching this. It's just wrong.
Well, you could teach it, but say this is one way.
To do it. Exactly.
That works. And you can be conventional. How would you like that? Most people are like, oh, I'm not conventional.
It's hilarious. You can put him anytime I come up with some crazy sketch. I just kind of tell him what it is. No need for a rehearsal. Nothing. Hilarious every time, because Tim's approach, way of thinking is he's funny. What about just being funny because that's who you are organically?
Yeah. Well, that's what people will often ask. And where do you perform? And I said, wherever I am.
I love that. Right. Because that's how I roll. I want to find out, like, the cartooning that you do. Did you realize you had a knack? And I hate calling it cartooning because it's so much more, people think cartoons funny, Sunday paper, comics. What you do is something else, and it's so quick. How did you get that skill? Was it something you were born with?
Conceptual animation.
Yes, thank you. Conceptual animation. How did you become that?
Well, what it was is that I told us. Here's one story, because there's probably many ways that it happened.
Were you a doodler? You were a doodler.
Always drawing. Drawing.
Okay.
But one of the questions I had as a drawer is, how come every time I draw it, it looks like I drew it? Like, wouldn't you think I'd get better? But I think what it is, this is just a bogus theory, but might be true. I think each of us has a certain amount of patience for reality, and then we make the rest up.
Wow.
So I draw as real as I can until I'm done with reality, and I make the rest up. And it always looks like me because of that timing.
Because you're making the rest up.
And if you look at different cartoonists, you say they all have different speeds of when they are fed up with reality.
Interesting.
In terms of how messy or complex their drawing is.
But it is, you can spot their style.
Yes.
Like, I looked at your stuff, it's a style. I could spot, if someone showed me something you did, I would know that was Flash Rosenberg.
And I'm not thinking I'll do a style. I'm just thinking, that's enough.
That's enough, right?
But what happened at the library, this is where having some facility in different types of art expressions. Like, I told a moth story, and the director of the live programs was the host, and he came running up to me afterwards and said, just come to all the talks. And the talks cost like $30. I wasn't going to go to these talks. He said, just come, some mischief will ensue. And so I went to these talks. I love that. And one time, Adam Gopnik was talking about raising children in New York and whether that was still safe. This was shortly after 9/11. And I thought, I should try to draw what this feels like, because I'm listening in a different way. And I'm just being here. And I started drawing it and did the next one and the next one. And then I was trying to learn, how do we make a drawing that feels like how it is information goes into it? So like, at first I was drawing these kind of murals, and at the end they look like gift wrap.
Wow.
But then I started realizing, no, when we listen to somebody, we have, here's a thought, here's another thought, then another thought. And I was doing them in long panels.
Yeah.
Then I thought, each little nugget you get that you take away with you is its own poster. And I didn't feel like I had to actually capture the whole thing. The whole thing is its own, program. But what I got that I took away, and then I had what I just learned or what I just listened to palpably with me in a way that I understood. And then when I showed it to others, there was a real recognition.
Right.
And so then I was doing this, and the managing director of the live
Library,
programs,
yeah.
she came to me and said, we don't have any money to pay you. And first, they don't have a job. There's not an artist in residence position, and you can't be laying off librarians and have an artist in residence.
Right.
But she said, but let's give you a good title so that it'll make you feel good. And I was then named their artist in residence. It wasn't like they had one.
That's so great.
And I would go to these things and draw, and it was supported. And then I got what I called a third-party funding, so that like the car manufacturer Lexus said, hey, if you put our tag on the end of these things, we want to reach that audience.
Brilliant.
Not because the audience there might be able to afford a Lexus today, but they're smart people who might aspire to buy one. And it was a kind of subtle advertising. And I thought, this is an interesting way, because I've tried to invent how to earn a living as an artist, not just invent the art. Like when I was
have invented it, though. This is it's brilliant. I mean, if Lexus is coming to you because that you can help them reach a demographic, there's no one else that can do what you do, and that's what I'm getting from all of this.
There are people who do live drawing of events, but they do it more accurately. Mine is more poetically. Let me just say it that way. So it's not like I don't put down, because it's a lot of work. I mean, if you want to draw somebody talking and relay what they just said, the rest of life is really relaxing.
Yeah, because that's a saying. That should be on a coffee cup or a t-shirt. Your mind, to me, when I looked at it, has to work so quick to do that.
Well, maybe it's just too lazy to think about it a long time. I'm not sure. I could come up with a rationale, an excuse, and a promotion for almost anything I've ever thought.
Wow. Advertising agencies must love what you do.
Well, it's funny because I haven't done much work with advertising agencies, and I sometimes think I could have chosen that path. That's why I don't complain about finances, because I made this choice. I wanted to remain independent. I didn't want a job. I have work. I don't need a job. I could use more money, but who couldn't?
I love how your life is on your terms.
Totally and completely.
Now, I wanted to ask you about. I'm trying to see here. Pulse of Desire.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? That was an Academy Award winner or an Academy Award finalist. Correct?
It was in the top 10. Only the top 5 get to go to the event and wear a gown. But I was only like 32 years old, so I was like pretty happy
to be invited
to
in
get
the
a
first
letter.
place, right?
They bought it, and it was I didn't want to do gallery exhibits anymore, which was what people thought you had to do with art photos. And so I just wanted to tell stories using slides. And then these sort of slideshows that people were doing for corporate events and all that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I thought I wanted to make a movie, but I didn't know how. So, well, if you take enough pictures and put them together, you'll have a movie. So
there you go. That actually really makes sense.
Well, it was technically a motion picture. In fact, it became something. I was nominated for an award at the Montreal Film Festival.
I love it.
One of the people on a discussion panel said, "This is not a movie. It's not a film." I said, "But it's on film. What makes it not film?"
Well, it wasn't their standard concept.
Yeah, because it was more of remembered times, because I said moments connect to each other to create time. I remember things in moments. That's why I probably have an ability to think of a single panel removed from a stream of consciousness to make that visible.
Yeah.
And so I made 7,000 images and then had 12 slide projectors. And
my God.
It was early. Well, we could only do it as fast as the slide could drop, and we could get to the next
Yeah, right.
one.
I know the process of dropping
Yeah,
slides.
it was like this whole thing. And I actually hired somebody who knew how to program it, because it was on a floppy disk to make the thing work. And we lined up all the slides and made this film that was a kind of a dream story about what it feels like to be falling in love. Wow. I would never name a thing again called Pulse of Desire, because that thing got stolen from the mail more often than anything. People probably thought it was a
porn. They thought.
So I figured if I ever do a sequel, I'll call it The Repulse of Desire, and then maybe steal it. But,
right, they'll take that too. That's even dicier. The making of this film, 7,000 images. So you had to shoot 7,000 images.
Well, to pick 7,000, you shoot.
You pick, but how did you make it make sense in terms of making a motion picture?
A big light table, and I wrote down. It was like a story of about 25 to 30 dreams, because I was really falling in love during that time. And it was it was such an intense sensation when it really is happening. It's not just a boyfriend from high school or something it was like really finding somebody that was helping me be somewhere else. But there was a lot of conflict in this, but all of it seemed beautiful because I liked the journey of learning about what love is. It didn't have to be good or bad. Again, that's me not sort of stepping away from judgment and saying, this is an experience and I'll never be able to fall in love for real this big for the first time again. What is this like? And I was having dreams about it. And so I would write them down and finally put them all together and made this piece.
Amazing.
And it's about a half hour long and it's on my Vimeo channel if somebody wants to watch it.
I would like to watch it. Yeah.
And, I didn't even know anybody who had made a film at that point, but I was in Philadelphia at the time, and the Ritz Theater was the art cinema.
In Philly.
And in Philadelphia. And so I said, well, he gets his art films from somewhere. Maybe if I showed it to him, he could tell me who might want to buy this or could distribute it. And he said, well, let me take a look at it. And he took it home and he said, he and his wife watched it. And he said, I know where this could be shown at my theater. And I was like, wow. So it was the opening short for a re-release of Clouseau's The Mystery of Picasso, where Picasso is drawing. And what happens is I knew a lot of people in Philadelphia because I was on public radio doing these flash moments.
Yeah.
And 500 people show up for them. And so the distributors of this Picasso film are going, what's going on in Philadelphia? And so she's got this little film that's happening there. And so that's how it got to the Lamelay theaters and got nominated.
Amazing.
That is such an incredible story.
Yeah.
A really incredible story. You've got another show coming up here at Pangea.
Yeah, I'm going to.
It's a group. You're doing a group.
Yeah,
thing.
I'm part of a group salon. I'm the accomplice. There's somebody who's the host and curator, but I'm sort of an enthusiastic assistant to Victoria Rowan, who is the host and curator of the show. It's called Idea Smith Salon, and we're doing Tuesdays every month between now until the end of December 2026.
Oh, you're kidding.
That we know of.
Oh my
God.
God.
So the next show is August 26th.
At 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
August 26th at 7 p.m. here at Pangea.
Right. And the piece I'm going to be doing this time, it's a new piece about collaborating with my younger self. Because
nice.
I want to try to figure out who that analog person was. And how does she collaborate with the digital person I've become? So it's not just about time, but it's about how it is we looked at things and how much of who I was, going back to the first questions you were asking about how soon are you who you are, and how available are you to grow and still be you? And a lot of people can't do that. Like I have a lot of friends my age and older who they just hate the computer, the apps, this, they can't do it. And I say, the first way to solve the problem is don't hate it first.
Right.
And think of it as
that comes out of fear, I think. So
yeah. So
but the nature of people as they get older, not everybody, but the nature is to make things smaller, make things controllable, make your world just a little bit more predictable.
Well, and change is a lot of time fearful.
Right. Change is right. Tim brought up a good point that it's fearful.
But I also think that's not just an attitude. I think it's a profound internal realization that it ends. And therefore, we want to hold on to whatever it is we can hold on to. So I have a lot of respect for people who are timid or reserved or don't want to try anymore. Because I'm not trying to invent a new self right now. Like people always ask, do you like to travel? I actually do not like to travel. I would like to go see places, but I am very democratic and I like all my clothes. And I'm always in trauma when I have to pick that dress or that sweater.
Because you like your stuff. You like your stuff. You can't bring all your.
Because you might be in Europe and really want to wear that dress that's in your closet in
New
York.
That's it. And it's not there. But okay.
No, but that dress would feel upset that I didn't pick it. That's the
right. Yes. It didn't take me along in the suitcase.
I love that.
Here is how I feel. I remember Penny Arcade saying this and not getting it when she turned 70. She had a party here. I'm in the last part of my life. And I repeated that to myself, and I thought, why would she feel that? Why would she think that? And now, you're right. I'm looking to completely reinvent, redo, whatever, because it is that finite thing. Look, your mother got a different dimension. At least she was on in her years, but we're watching things happen to our friends at this age and younger, right? So with that being said, I'm figuring out my next. There's a whole bunch of them. It's plural because the clock is ticking here, and it's not a thing about fear. It's about I'm going for it. I want to go. I want to do. I want to experience. I want to taste. For me, it's a rebirth in a lot of ways. But I am finding there's a lot of people that don't agree with me on that.
Yeah, well, and I don't need agreement.
Right.
You are on your trajectory.
Right.
And sometimes just by example, by being energetic and not being morose or grumbling. I mean, yes, I have the mental sensation of morose and grumble. I mean, but I don't have to inflict it on others.
Right.
Because I think that being able to offer another way to look at things is really
a different perspective.
Something I like because it makes me feel like I've got more things in this apartment.
Yes.
It's a way of collecting things and thinking that anything could be something else. Like that's why I keep things like, when umbrellas come, they come in that cute little.
You keep the sleeves.
The sleeves because they look good still.
I've got a bunch of them.
And I think, well, they might be good for something. I haven't figured out.
They are. If you have a dog, you can put the dog.
But when you figure it out, what they're good for, you'll be ready.
Tim, it's so good for poop bags. You know the plastic bags you get when you buy vegetables now, the very thin ones. Yes. That's what you use to pick up the dog's poops with. They fit nicely in that sleeve.
Perfect.
And it's lightweight and easy to carry.
Now, to figure out how to use things, how to see them in a new way, and that's what I like to teach. And I mean, when I have the visual humor classes, which I've done as art, guest artist in various locations, and I'll say, what was the funniest thing that happened to you on your way here? And everybody had something funny happen, or something they saw, or this or that, but they don't think to stop and record it or
nobody asked them to you at that point. Do you have anything like that coming up that you can share with our audience where they could take a workshop with you? That would be great.
I don't have one set up at the moment.
Okay,
but I mean they're coming up,
so they can follow you on your website or
and also at Flash Rosenberg on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will try to be better at posting things because it's either you've got this thing, you can either promote yourself or do the work.
Well,
and that's one of the biggest tug of wars.
That's our hello.
Yes,
right.
And promoting yourself.
Or everyone out there, or you can go to flashrosenberg.com.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Well. Right.
Now we do not really get political on this show, but you are so in tune with the human experience that I'm just curious, do you have a theory how society has kind of gotten to where we're at with so many not accepting facts? They don't want factual information and the mistrusting of facts and misinformation.
How it was taken over.
Do you have a concept of what might have happened there?
I mean, it's so complex. I mean, because I think that we thought everybody's going to be so much more informed because of the internet. I just thought now we'll know many more artists and have many more influences,
more
and
choices,
we'll have more access. If we have an ailment, we can look it up. So our enthusiasm for all that and our belief that, wow, now I can know things. I mean, I mean, this is diverting a little bit, but I'm still going to answer your question. Is that I love to make a list of everything I've Googled in a week to know everything that went wrong in my life.
I can give you a solution. You just go on GPT, and that will tell you how those things went wrong in your life. You have to follow up Google now with that. It's amazing.
Right. Well, this is it. So there's going to be things break down before they get better. I do think there's going to be
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish we didn't have to go through this phase of it.
I do too.
And one of the things that is, I mean, I don't know if I could have predict or know exactly why, but I do know that the morning that this awful guy was elected, I had 3 friends from when I was in Hebrew school at 5 years old, and we could never understand how the Holocaust happened. How could smart, good suburban German people. Right. Let this happen.
Right.
And we were crying, saying, now we know.
Now we know. Yeah.
Like, and that and the helplessness, I was thought, why didn't people do something? And we're all now the people who don't. We
are saying that we don't know. We don't know what to do
because of the weapons of mass distraction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it is.
And what it is that I have a career of being, if you want to be pejorative, say I'm very distracted. Like I had a publisher one time tell me that Maurice Sendak was very smart. He illustrated kids' books. He went through the keyhole and got famous as a kid book illustrator. And then when he did theatrical costumes and made movies and animations, he was wildly talented. I was very wide first and couldn't go through the keyhole. And that's why I'm not as well known as I might have been, as if that was my main goal. I've taken it this way. I am more interested in what I get to know than in who gets to know me. And it's a very different take on celebrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. It's got to do more with the content.
So,
we have, we're like, I can't, this conversation went so intense and quick, and you're fabulous. We have a couple of comments.
Well, a couple of people say hello. Yeah. Apollo Cabrera.
Hi, Apollo. Thank you.
Rose Velve Genero, who's a designer from Massachusetts, says hello, dolls. And then our dear friend Rose Trentman, she was the first female boxing commissioner for women's boxing.
We love Rose. She's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So she says hello there. Keep cool.
Tuning in today.
And we have to look out for each other.
And we do. Two things before we go. Our guest has turtles. We love turtles.
Oh, yes.
What appeals to you about turtles?
Well, they're always home. They're like
right.
And not like they're going to run away.
You can count on them.
Well, they can just pull into their house. They don't have to pack. And
you connect to that, don't you? Right.
I also connect to, I mean, my father would find them by the side of the road and bring them home, and they were pet. And Mom said, take them out for a walk while I make dinner, and they would just sit there. So it was really a safe pet for a child. And I
took them out for a walk while I make dinner.
Also, I'm allergic to dogs and cats.
There you go.
And so, turtles were sort of the right possibility. And I was always somebody who said, if I am responsible or love something, learn all you can about it.
Yeah.
And so before the internet, I joined the New York Turtle and Tortoise Society.
Nice.
Go online.
They're great, Tim. I know.
NYTTS.org, New York Turtle and Tortoise Society.
Yeah.
And what I like about turtles too is that no matter how swanky, hip, fashionable you think you are, if you are holding a turtle next to your face, you will look like an 8th grade geek.
I should have had you bring a turtle.
But turtles, the life expectancy, I was surprised, isn't it? How long do turtles live?
Well, if you hate death, get a turtle.
That's what I thought. They really last.
Yeah, you have to take care of them. I mean,
I went to the Galapagos, and the oldest living tortoise, Lonesome George. Do you know about him? Yeah. I interviewed him. He didn't say anything, but I went there specifically to get footage on him. He finally did pass, but the things live. They can live hundreds of years. Those big tortoises.
Yeah, I lost a turtle that was 50 years old last summer.
50.
But he got an He got an eye infection. So, but the person in his tank mate didn't. I was like, well, what?
Well, yeah.
But his name was Old Original Turtle. He was OOT.
He's the OG.
OOT, Old Original. Yeah. I want him to see your gloves. Look at how, isn't she amazing? Are those not the coolest? She walks in and I'm like, I totally want those. They're so great. But they're not.
I try to dress up when I'm walking around.
You
New
look
York
so
City
beautiful.
Because just in case something good might happen. That's part of my pathological optimism.
I love it. Love it.
Kevin, you were here with us today. Thank you so much for taking time out. Again, August 26th. Here at Pangea, 7:00, group show, the Idea Smith Salon. Yeah,
Flash Rosenberg. This has been an absolute delight. You are absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating.
I love the occasion and that you brought me here. Generosity from you too.
Well, you're at Pangea. That's what we're all about here. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today, and we will see you next week. And Tim, I'll see you later tonight online.
Yes. And Saturday.
Yes. Bye, everybody.